my brothers and sisters, some of us are losing sleep over things that Allah has already taken responsibility for. Think about that for a moment. You lie in bed at night staring at the ceiling, turning from one side to the other, thinking about tomorrow, thinking about your job, thinking about your family, thinking about the future. Your mind keeps racing. What if this happens? What if things go wrong? What if everything falls apart? But let me ask you something honestly. How many times in your life have you worried about something, only to realize later that everything worked out anyway? Subhanallah. You were anxious. Your heart was heavy. You were imagining the worst possible outcome. And then weeks later or months later, you look back and you say something surprising. Why did I stress so much about that? But here is the problem. Many people believe worrying means they care more. They believe worrying means they are responsible. They believe if they stop worrying, everything will fall apart. But the reality is something deeper. Very often, worry is just a human attempt to control what only Allah controls. So let me ask you a few questions. Who controls your future? Who controls the hearts of people? Who controls rizq, provision, opportunities, doors opening and closing? Is it really you? Or is it Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? And if Allah is the one in control, why are we exhausting ourselves trying to carry a burden that was never meant for us? Let's bring this idea into everyday life. Imagine a student preparing for an exam. They study all night. They highlight every page. They revise every chapter again and again. But when they walk into the exam hall, who decides the questions on the paper? The teacher, not the student. The student can control preparation, but they cannot control the questions. Isn't that true? Or think about a job interview. You polish your resume. You practice answers in front of the mirror. You choose your best codes. You walk into that room hoping everything goes perfectly. But who decides whether you get the job? Is it you? Or the person sitting across the table? Or even deeper, is it Allah placing acceptance in their heart? Subhanallah. Think about a doctor. A doctor studies for years. They diagnose illnesses, they prescribe medicine. But who actually gives the healing? Is it the doctor? Or is it Allah Ash-Shafi, the one who cures? Even parents experience this. Parents sacrifice everything for their children. They teach them values, they guide them, they pray for them every night. But can any parent control every decision their child will make? No, they advise, they guide, they hope. But ultimately, guidance is in the hands of Allah. And yet, despite knowing all of this, we still carry the burden of controlling everything. Why? Why do we try to control the uncontrollable? Let me tell you a story. There was a young man who dreamed of entering a specific university. For years he worked toward that goal, late night studying, sacrificing weekends, missing family gatherings. He had one dream, that university. Finally the day came when the results were released. His heart was pounding as he opened the email. And then he saw it. Rejected. Just like that. His heart sank. He stared at the screen in disbelief. After all those years, all that effort, this was the result. He kept asking himself one painful question. Why would Allah let this happen after everything I did? For weeks he felt lost. But eventually he applied to another university. Not his first choice. Not his dream. Just an alternative. But something interesting happened there. At that second university, he met a group of friends who later became his business partners. They started a small project together. Just an idea. Years later, that idea became a successful company. And one day he said something powerful. If I got accepted into the first university, I would have never met them. Subhanallah, what he thought was rejection was actually redirection. Let me ask you something. How many things in your life looked like a disaster at first, but later turned into a blessing? Islam teaches something incredibly powerful. Something that can remove a huge weight from your life if you truly understand it. Your responsibility is effort. Allah's responsibility is the outcome. But many of us reverse this. We focus less on effort and we obsess over results. We want guarantees. We want certainty. We want control. But life doesn't work that way. Allah reminds us in the Quran, and whoever puts their trust in Allah, then He is sufficient for them. Think about that statement. Allah is sufficient, meaning His wisdom is sufficient, His planning is sufficient, His protection is sufficient. So if Allah is sufficient, why do we still behave like everything depends only on us? Let me ask you to imagine something. Imagine Allah allowed you to see your life 10 years into the future. You could see the people you will meet, the opportunities waiting for you, the closed doors that actually saved you from harm, the problems that protected you from worse problems. Imagine you could see all of that. Let me ask you honestly, would you still be worrying about today's uncertainty? Probably not. Because you would say, oh, that's why this happened. Oh, that's why that door closed. Oh, that's why that relationship ended. But here is the reality. You cannot see 10 years ahead. And that is exactly where faith comes in. Faith means trusting the wisdom you cannot yet see. Think of life like being on an airplane. You are sitting in your seat. You feel the plane shaking during turbulence. Sometimes the movement feels scary. Passengers begin to panic. But let me ask you something. Do passengers fly the plane? No, the pilot does. Your job is simply to remain seated and trust the pilot. Now imagine a passenger suddenly running toward the cockpit shouting, "Move aside! I want to fly the plane!" Everyone would think that person lost their mind. But sometimes that is exactly what we do in life. Allah is controlling everything, yet we panic as if everything depends on us. So how do we stop worrying? Let's break it into 4 simple steps. Step 1. Separate what you control from what you don't. Ask yourself honestly, what can I influence here? You can control studying. You can control exam questions. You can control preparation. You cannot control other people's opinions. Once you make that distinction, half the stress disappears. Step 2. Do your absolute best effort. Islam never teaches laziness. The Prophet gave us a powerful lesson. A man once asked him, "Should I tie my camel and trust Allah, or leave it untied and trust Allah?" The Prophet said, "Tie your camel and trust Allah." Meaning, do your part. Work hard. Work hard. Prepare. But once you've done your part, release the outcome. Step 3. Transfer the burden to Allah. Make sincere dua. Say, "Ya Allah, I have done what I can. The rest is in your hands." Isn't it easier when the most powerful takes responsibility? Step 4. Accept the outcome with trust. If things go your way, say Alhamdulillah. If things go differently, still say Alhamdulillah. If things go differently. Because Allah sees what you cannot see. A brother once shared a story with me. He applied for a job he desperately wanted. He prepared for weeks, practiced interview questions, imagined himself working there. But after the interview, he received the rejection email. He was devastated. He kept asking himself, why would Allah close this door? Months later, he accepted another job in a different city. And in that city, he met someone unexpected, the woman who later became his wife. Years later, he laughed and said something beautiful. The job I cried about losing was the job that would have prevented me from meeting my family. Subhanallah. Sometimes Allah closes one door because behind another door is something you would never even think to ask for. Many of our worries come from one illusion. The illusion that we are supposed to control everything. But Islam teaches something liberating. You are not the manager of the universe. Allah is. Your role is actually simple. Your role is sincerity. Your role is effort. Your role is patience. Your role is trust. And when you truly understand this, a huge weight lifts from your chest. Let me give you a few simple habits to build tawakkul. First habit. Every morning say, "Oh Allah, I trust your plan more than my own." Second habit. Take a piece of paper and make two lists. List 1, things I can control. List 2, things I cannot control. Then consciously release the second list to Allah. Third habit. When anxiety rises, repeat a powerful phrase. Hasbi Allahu wa ni'mal wakil. Allah is sufficient for me and the best disposer of affairs. Fourth habit. Think about 3 moments in your life when things unexpectedly worked out. Ask yourself honestly, was that coincidence? Or was it Allah taking care of you? My brothers and sisters, many of us are carrying worries that were never meant for our shoulders. Allah never asked you to control the future. He asked you to trust Him with it. So tonight when you lie down in your bed, before you close your eyes, ask yourself one question. Why am I stressing over something that Allah already has under control? Remember something beautiful. The same Allah who carried you through every difficulty in your past is the same Allah managing the problems you face today. Nothing has changed. So stop exhausting your heart with worry. Do your best. Make your dua. Tie your camel. And trust the one who never fails. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.